How much trouble can a simple seat cause? For Marcus Bell, that question marked the beginning of one of the darkest days of his life. The bus moves slowly through the evening traffic. The air conditioning is broken. People are packed in, standing shoulder to shoulder. The air is thick with sweat, honking horns, and stifled breathing. Marcus, a 32-year-old black man, has just finished work. He carries a backpack on his shoulders and exhaustion on his face. As the bus approaches a stop, an elderly woman gets off. Marcus notices the now vacant seat. He politely steps forward and sits down, closing his eyes. Maybe I'll get 5 minutes of peace, he thinks. But then, hey, get up, that seat's for the elderly. Don't you know that? The voice is sharp and commanding. The buzz inside the bus falls silent. The speaker, a white man in his 60s, wearing a suit, Richard Callahan. Marcus opens his eyes. There's no sign on the seat. No reserved for elderly sticker. No icon. Calmly, he responds, "Sir, I'm sorry. The seat was empty. It was my turn, so I sat down. I'm just tired." The man grits his teeth and sneers. "Tired, huh? Sure. That's what all of you say. If only you knew what you've done to this country." Everyone on the bus hears it. No one says a word. Marcus can feel the weight of every eye on him. He feels judged, as if he's done something wrong, yet still stays silent. Richard steps closer. He jabs a finger into Marcus's shoulder. "I said, get up!" Marcus instinctively pushes the hand away. Not violently, just clearly showing he doesn't want to be touched. But Richard dramatically throws himself to the floor. "He assaulted me! You all saw it! He attacked me!" Silence once again swallows the bus. A few people hold their breath. The driver grabs his radio, voice trembling. "Dispatch, we have a reported assault on the bus, requesting police assistance, immediately." Marcus stands up, hands raised, his eyes wide with fear. The people who were standing beside him just moments ago now back away. Nobody will meet his gaze. And in that moment, one thought races through Marcus's mind. I sat in a seat, and now I might lose everything. As sirens begin to wail in the distance, one final question echoes inside him. Can the truth really be ignored this easily? As soon as the doors open, 2 white police officers step onto the bus, Officer Davis and Officer Riley. Without asking a single question, they zero in on Marcus. "You, hands on your head, kneel down." Marcus freezes, confused. "Wait a second. I didn't attack anyone. That man yelled at me. I was just sitting down." One officer leans in and whispers to the other, "Typical." First they protest, then they resist. Always the same playbook. Marcus slowly kneels, but at that moment, someone quietly pulls out their phone. A teenage girl on the bus starts recording. Officer Riley roughly pulls Marcus's arms behind his back. Marcus cries out, "You're hurting me. You don't even know what I did." Officer Davis scoffs without looking at him. "Maybe if you spent less time talking and more time owning up, we'd treat you like a human being." Still, the bus remains silent. Not a single voice speaks up. As Marcus is dragged toward the police car, Richard, still lying on the floor, lifts his head and smirks. And in Marcus's eyes, a single question lingers. Can sitting in a seat really be a crime? Inside the police station's interrogation room, time felt frozen. Night had fallen outside, but under the dim flicker of a single bulb, Marcus Bell sat alone. His body bore bruises. His face showed both fatigue and quiet defiance. He stared at the purple marks on his wrists, but his eyes were still steady, still proud. The door creaked open. Detective Monroe walked in, mid-50s, eyes heavy with years of bias. He dropped a file on the table with a voice dipped in suspicion. "You know, Bell, I've seen plenty like you, always playing the victim. But the truth comes out eventually. So let's not waste time. Confess now, and maybe we'll talk leniency." Marcus replied without lifting his head. "I was just sitting on the bus. I didn't insult anyone. I didn't touch anyone. He came at me. I just pulled back." Monroe narrowed his eyes and read aloud from the file, mockingly. "No witnesses, no footage, but a white man was on the ground. You were standing. What does that leave us with, Bell?" Marcus didn't respond, because he knew the truth wouldn't be enough. He'd already been judged. From the moment of the incident, the only evidence that seemed to matter was his skin. Monroe stood up. As he headed for the door, he added, "Save it for court. But don't expect the jury to believe someone like you." The door slammed shut. Marcus was alone again. He held his breath, his fists clenched. He wasn't just angry, he was broken. But outside that interrogation room, something was happening. A TikTok video was going viral. Just a few seconds of shaky footage. Silent, raw and real, was now cutting through the darkness. Marcus didn't know it yet, but this time, the truth wouldn't rest on his words alone. The moment I stepped into the courtroom, all eyes were on me, like the verdict had already been written, and this was just a formality. Judge Thomas Hall sat on the bench with a cold stare. Every gesture said, "My mind is made up." Next to me was a court-appointed attorney I had never met before. Young, nervous, and clearly unprepared. Across the aisle stood Richard Callahan, slowly walking with a cane. He turned to the jury and began to speak. All I did was ask for my seat back. But this young man shoved me. I was scared. I didn't know what he'd do next. Nothing I could say seemed to matter. The bus driver was absent. None of the passengers had come forward. It was just Richard's words, and my silence. The prosecutor painted me as a threat using plain, hollow language. In public spaces like buses, safety is paramount. The defendant's behavior posed a direct threat to that safety. Then Judge Hall spoke. "We must set an example for the sake of public order. Everyone should know their place." Know their place. That phrase slammed into my mind. A seat, a skin color, and a life on the line. Outside the courtroom, something had begun to stir. The video that went viral on TikTok was spreading like wildfire. But inside, we weren't judging the truth. We were judging comfort zones, and the comfort of not questioning certain assumptions. My attorney shuffled through her notes without passion. She glanced at the jury, but their faces weren't uncertain. They were convinced. And me, I stood alone, facing not just a lie, but the deep loneliness of truth. What I didn't yet know was this. It wasn't just me on trial for sitting in that seat. It was the truth itself, and whether it would be allowed to stand. The air in the courtroom is suffocating. Judge Thomas Hall slams the gavel down. His gaze, again, locks onto Marcus. The jury is in place. The prosecution is ready. Marcus's new attorney, Leona Price, rises confidently, holding up a USB flash drive. "Your Honor, we have newly obtained evidence, a video recorded by a passenger during the incident. Though it has circulated on social media, it has not yet been submitted as formal evidence." Hall frowns but accepts. The screen lights up. The video begins. We see Richard yelling at Marcus, screaming, "Get up!" Marcus remains seated, silent. Richard aggressively taps Marcus on the shoulder. Marcus gently pushes his hand away. Then Richard throws himself to the ground in an exaggerated fall. The familiar scene follows. The police arrive and violently arrest Marcus. Silence grips the courtroom. Then, whispers ripple. The prosecutor shifts uncomfortably in his seat. Judge Hall says nothing for several seconds. Then, he calls for the jury to deliberate. Minutes pass. The jury returns. The foreperson stands, hands trembling with the verdict slip. In the matter of Marcus Bell, we find the defendant not guilty, unanimously. No applause, just a collective exhale. Somewhere in the back, a woman begins to cry. Marcus bows his head. This wasn't a victory. It was justice. Delayed. Judge Hall bangs the gavel. This court orders the defendant released immediately. The prosecution is instructed to investigate the parties responsible for the misrepresentation of the event. As Marcus walks toward the exit, the room parts like a wave. People step aside. Some nod. Some just look away. Outside, a crowd has gathered. Cameras roll. Microphones reach out. Marcus says just one thing. That seat wasn't just a seat. It was my equality. I defended it, because I had no reason to stand up. Marcus is on the same bus, in the same seat. This time, no tension. Just his smiling face reflected in the window. A child on the sidewalk smiles back. The light changes. The truth can be silenced, but never erased. If the camera is rolling, justice may be delayed, but it will find its way.